In this Blender tutorial, I will show you how to create a very simple pool ball. Other tutorials can be found in my playlists. Okay, start by removing this banner. So to do this, just hit return on your keyboard. Now we're going to remove this cube. To do this, just press X on your keyboard and then left click on delete. Now press 7 on your numbers pad to go into top orthographic view. And we need to line this camera up so that it's actually looking down from the top. So to do this, come up to the button that says view, left click on this, then come down to align view, and then left click on align active camera to view. Now I'm going to change the shape of this camera view to a square. So come over to the right hand side and look for the button that looks like a printer. This should say output, context output. And then in the top box, match the figure to the bottom box where it says 1920. Just left click and type in 1080 and then hit return. The reason I've done this is when we come to apply what will be an image onto the sphere, which will be your pool ball, if I left it at 1920, the image would stretch, so it's just easier to change it initially. We'll change this back later on. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is bring some text in. So if you hold down Shift followed by A, look for the button that says text and left click on this. Now hit tab on your keyboard to go into edit mode, and then backspace to remove your text, and then type in the number you want to use. In this instance I'm using 10. Now if you come over to the right hand side again, you should see a letter A and this says object data. Left click on this. Now what you're looking for is in the paragraph box, and you may have to open up a line as well. And you've got these boxes here actually tell you what place your text is going to be in. So in the horizontal it'll say left, just left click on this and then left click center, and in the vertical left click again and left click on center. And this will put your number roughly in the position that you want it to be in. Okay, and for now just press tab on your keyboard and don't do anything. We're going to resize this in a minute. Hold down Shift followed by A again, and this time next to mesh left click on circle. Come to the bottom left of the screen where it says add circle, left click on the little arrow, and in the vertices box where it says 32 just left click and type in 64. Double the figure. Press 1 on your numbers pad to come into front view, and then just select the arrow button here which says move and drag this circle down slightly. Now go into camera view again and press 0. By pressing 0, sorry, and then press tab on your keyboard and making sure everything is selected. If it isn't, just press A and then press F, and this will fill the circle. Press tab again to come into object mode, and this time hold down Shift followed by A, and next to mesh bring in a plane by left clicking on plane. Again press 1 on your numbers pad and then making sure the move button is selected, drag the plane down by placing your pointer over the blue arrow and dragging your plane down. Press 0 on your numbers pad again And what we're going to do is actually make this plane slightly bigger. So just press S and move your mouse. Make your plane, I don't know, so it looks reasonably sensible. I'm not going to be 100% accurate in how I do this. This is just a very quick tutorial. So I think that will do. Okay. Finally, hold down Shift followed by A again, and then left click on plane again. And then one to go into front view, and then drag this one down even further. If you're not sure, just hold your middle mouse button down and rotate your view, and I think that's what gives you some idea the distances I'm using. Okay, 0 to go into camera view, and again press S, and this time you're going to drag this right out so it literally fills the camera view. And now we can start putting some colours to these and adjusting them for size if needs be. Okay, so first colour, this is going to be white, the larger box. So come over to the right hand side of the screen and look for the materials button. This looks like a little world. Left click on this, then left click new. In the box it says principled BSDF, left click, and then left click on emission or emission. Left click on the white bar, just check that this slider is all the way to the top. We can also start looking at the view of this. So press Z on your keyboard and then left click on look dev. As you can see, this is virtually pure white. We'll change this. One of the problems with Blender is it comes in what they call filmic sometimes when you actually render, so you can change this to standard. We'll do that in a minute. Okay, next thing we're going to do is select the smaller square by left clicking on it, or the first plane up here, and again left click on new, principled BSDF, emission, and this time left click on the white bar, and with your pointer over the little dot, hold your left mouse button down and drag this around to a colour you want to use. I'm going to go for blue. Okay, now what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to increase the size of this on from left to right. So I'm going to press SX on my keyboard and then drag this over so it covers the view. Okay, select the circle. If you're not sure where it is, it'll actually say circle up here, and again this time we're actually going to use the same color as we did for the back for the larger square. So if you just left click on the little world here and then select material 001, this will make it the same as the larger white color. Finally, text. If you can't see it, just come up here and left click on text, and then left click on new, again principled BSDF, and then emission, and this time left click on the white bar, hold your left mouse button down over this little dot here and drag this down. Okay, now I'm going to just make this view slightly bigger. It doesn't matter what is on outside of the camera view. So if you just press N on your keyboard and then select, make sure that you've got items selected, sorry, view selected, forget that, you need to make sure the view is selected. There's a box that says lock camera to view, left click in this so that a tick is showing. Now if you roll your middle mouse you can zoom in a bit, or if you hold down shift and your middle mouse, you can move your mouse, or sorry, controlling your middle mouse, you can move your view by moving your mouse. So I think I'm going to go with that. Okay, finally I'm going to close this down by pressing N. Finally, I think I'll increase the size of this 10. So I'm going to left click on the number 10 and then press S. Sorry, I didn't get that one. You want to make sure you've selected your letter, your number. Again, if you're not sure, left click up here, press S, and then move your mouse to increase this in size, and then if you press G for grab, you can move it around. So I think I'll make it, that's about right, I think. Okay, I'm going to go with this. Come up to the top of the screen and left click on render, then left click render image, and once your image is finished rendering, which should be pretty quick, left click on the image button and then left click save as, and I'm going to select desktop and I'll give this a title of, call it what you want, I'll call this blue ball, and then left click save as image. You might have to do this twice, and then close this down. Now rather than resetting up everything, I'm actually going to come up to the top left of the screen and left click on file, then new, and then left click on general, and obviously discard changes. Press X again to remove the cube and then left click on delete. Hold down shift followed by A, and next to mesh left click on UV sphere. Left click on the little arrow next to add UV sphere at the bottom of the screen, and in the segments box where it says 32, left click and type in 64 and hit return. Then in the rings, left click 16 and type in 32. So you're basically doubling the numbers. Press 1 on your numbers pad to go into front view, roll your middle mouse to get a reasonable view of this sphere, and then press tab on your keyboard, and then Z. Tab takes you into edit mode, and then after you press Z, left click on wireframe. Hold down Alt followed by A to deselect everything, and then with your pointer away from the sphere, press B for box. What we're going to do is place your pointer just below the red line, hold down your left mouse button and draw a box over the top of this sphere. So basically you want everything selected, including the dots in the middle along the red line. Come over to the right hand side of the screen and left click on the materials button. Left click new, and where it says base color, there's a little dot. Left click on this, and then left click on image texture. There's a little box with a file next to it which says open. Left click on open, and then go to the file where your image was saved and select the image. If you've got lots of different things in this folder, you want thumbnails, next to the AZ button there's a thumbnails button, and you should be able to see your image. So as I said, left click on the image and then left click open image. Come up to the top of the screen and look for the button that says UV editing and left click on this. Press 7 on your numbers pad to go into top view with your mouse in this screen, then roll your mouse to zoom in, and then press Z, and this brings up your view options, and then left click look dev. Come to the top of the screen and left click on the button that says UV, and then left click project from view bounds, and this will happen. Now I'm going to just adjust this slightly. So with your pointer in this box here, press A to select everything, and then press S and move your mouse to change the view. So I'm not going to go into any figures. I'm just going to move this till it looks reasonably okay, and that will do. Left click to accept. Press 1 on your numbers pad to go into front view with your mouse pointer in this screen, then Z, and then left click wireframe. Hold down Alt followed by A to deselect everything, and then B, and this time place your pointer just above the red line. Hold down your left mouse button and drag a box over the bottom. Hold down Control followed by 7, and this brings you into bottom view, and again Z to change your view, and then left click look dev. Come to the UV button at the top and left click on this. Left click project from view bounds, and again this should come in looking reasonably good. Pointer over this side, press A, and what I would do this time is if you press 3 on your numbers pad, you'll go into right hand view, and then with your pointer in this screen, place it a fair distance away from the middle, press S and move your mouse to line the band up, and then left click. Now I'm going to roll my middle mouse in this screen to zoom in a bit, and I'm also going to hold my mouse button down. No, that was wrong, sorry. I need to press 3, numpad 3, and I want to move this over a bit, so I'm going to hold down shift followed by my middle mouse button and drag this over, and then roll my middle mouse to zoom in, and again with my pointer in this screen I'm going to press S again and just make sure this lines up. It can be a bit fiddly. Yeah, that will do for this I think, and then left click. Okay, back to the top of the screen and left click on the button that says layout, and again Z, and then left click on look dev. And now all you need to do is right click on the sphere and then left click shade smooth. Hold your middle mouse button down to get a decent view of your sphere, and then with your materials button still selected, drag this slider down. What you're looking for is the roughness tab. Place your pointer in the bar and just left click to drag the roughness down to 0, and it's a little arrow up here. Left click on this, then left click on the globe and select the dark one. Now this one says studio light. Left click on this and you should end up with something that looks like this. Now I'm not going to go into any more detail, otherwise as a beginner's lesson it will just be too long. All I'm going to do is just press 0 on my keyboard, which will take me in, or numbers pad rather, which will take me into camera view. Roll my mouse to get a decent view, and then I'm going to rotate this on its x-axis by pressing RX and move my mouse, and then RZ to rotate it on its z-axis, so I've got a reasonable view of it. I'm going to press N, left click on view, and then again lock camera to view, N to close this down, and I'm going to roll my middle mouse to zoom in. Hold shift and my middle mouse button down to drag this, so I've got a half decent view of this sphere. And then top of the screen, look for the two rings, one's solid, one's not. This says show overlays. Left click on this, and then all you're going to do is view, left click on view, and then left click viewport render image, and top of the screen, left click on image, save as, give it another title, I don't know, and then left click save as image, close this down, and hopefully with a good prevailing wind you should have something that looks like this. Hopefully that's helped somebody. Thank you for watching. Cheers.